Here, I'll do it. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the InstructLab CLI meeting. It is December 5th, 2024. A few important things to remember. All of these meetings are governed by the InstructLab Code of Conduct. They will be recorded and posted on the InstructLab YouTube channel. If you prefer not to be on camera, please feel free to join camera off or dial in via phone. Raise your hand via the Google Meet if you have questions. And if you'd like to chat in real time during the meeting, you can use the chat function integrated with Google Meet, and we will be publishing these transcripts after the call.
Thank you, Nathan. Thank you.
You're welcome. Would you like to begin with some housekeeping?
Sure. I don't know what specifically this housekeeping item is, Nathan. Did you add this to the agenda?
No, it's always on the agenda, but I actually do have a housekeeping matter to discuss.
I think that was the housekeeping.
Oh, that was the housekeeping.
The house has been kept.
Yes.
The house has been kept. All right, then I have a separate announcement of a housekeeping-esque nature. I'll just throw this in the agenda here.
Take it away.
We have two new CLI maintainers, Mustafa and Ben. A hearty congratulations to these two. We're very happy to welcome you aboard, and we are excited for all of the maintenance that you will be doing for us. On a similar note, I have actually made a CLI triager nomination. If you crack that open, Charlie. This is for Reed Liu, who has been very active in the project recently. I've included some links there to some pull requests authored by Reed. Yes, you can see more of what a triager entails via our contributor roles documentation link there. And yeah, feel free to vote if you are eligible to do so, and if you have any concerns, you can reach out to me directly, as is the process. Does anyone have any questions or comments or adulations they'd like to pass on to our new maintainers, or about the nomination process in general, perhaps?
Nope, I think well deserved all around. Especially Reed, someone in the community has been so active. I know that I and all the rest of the maintenance really appreciate his dedication, and he's just like nonstop working on this project, which is awesome to see. So much appreciated.
Excellent words, JD. Thank you. With that, we'll move on to the next topic. Charlie, would you like to talk about this?
Sure. Yes. So we are going to be releasing probably multiple 21Z streams over the next couple of days. They're basically going to be bug fixes. We're going to have some system profile auto detection changes. You might see some changes to your config in these releases. We're going to probably be adding a metadata field because that's an easier way to do this sort of auto detection that we've been doing with system profiles. Off the top of my head, I can't think of any major changes that are going to be in this release. It's primarily a fit and finish bug fix release. And yeah, so be ready for those. Nathan, do you want to add anything?
Don't want to add anything. No, I think you've nailed it there.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, next we can do the evolution of the term CLI. I can give some context here. So on this one, we have a dev doc. I guess I can crack the dev doc open as well if I can find this window.
It's linked there, yeah.
Yep. So the team commonly refers to InstructLab as the CLI. The repo is now called InstructLab for good reason, because today the InstructLab repo does a lot more than just maintain a command line interface. It also maintains the configuration system. It has the system profiles. It's become more of an orchestrator, and especially as we add things like process management and we kind of expand the way you interact with the InstructLab workflow. We have been commonly referring to this repo as sort of like the core engine or orchestrator, as I said. So what you'll see here is a voting to kind of rename the how we refer to like CLI I think the maintainer group is a good example of a thing that we would change. Like currently it's called CLI maintainers. We'd probably refer to that as the core maintainers or engine maintainers, stuff like that. So I think voting for this is going to close by the end of the day today. So make sure you get your vote in. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Nathan, do you want to add anything specifically? Other things that might change with this name change, or it's really just like philosophical, really, in my head.
Yeah, I think like the context that Charlie gave is partially present in that dev doc, which is sort of the general sort of like what do we want to have, prior to doing a 1.0.0 of the CLI to be called, the core or the engine, what have you. So if you want to read more about that, or you're interested in like other stuff, please do review that dev doc. I'm soliciting the rest of the reviews. It's been open for a few weeks, so I'm soliciting the rest of the reviews and making the updates today and tomorrow. And my intention is to get this approved and merged in tomorrow. So yeah, please vote whatever the option that's voted on by the end of today is. I will update all the references in the PR and in the doc to be that, whether it's core engine or orchestrator. And yeah, that's kind of it. And if you have any questions about this or more about like the philosophy or why we're doing this, like please reach out on like the CLI channel, which will probably get renamed. Or if you prefer email, we can also have this conversation on the dev at InstructLab AI email list, where folks prefer. But yeah.
Cool. Thank you very much, Nathan.
Thank you. And we have one more important vote happening in the community
Yes.
as well.
Yes. So this one's been open for quite a while, but we have to find a name for the InstructLab dog. We tried to do this a while ago. As you see, this has been open since July 30th. It's gotten to the point now where we want to close it by the end of this week as well. There was a comment here about all the ones that were supposed to be voted on, but people have put some last minute additions here that folks can be voting on as well. So make sure you get in there, cast your vote. I think reacting to whichever one you want with the rocket emoji is how we're going to tally the votes. If there's a tie, it's going to go to the oversight committee to decide. Yeah, that's pretty much that. So go vote. It's linked in the doc here.
Julia has her hand raised.
I'm curious. So, are there any legal requirements with this? So, for example, Prada is, the name of a very influential company. Is there any restrictions to naming it?
It's an excellent question, Julia. I would imagine, yes.
Me too.
Probably.
So I bring this up because we might run into some problems. Charlie, I'm so sorry. We might run into some problems with Lemmy.
Well,
Spelled Lemme.
ugh, sad.
We could do Llemme.
I believe college
Or the one
suggested that, as a
college
matter of fact.
suggested. But if they're, if we're going to have to get this checked by legal, I'm a little worried about that one making it through.
Well, it looks like Ladu is in the lead by quite a bit right now. So I think that's kind of a
Cool.
bridge we'll cross when we come to it.
Perfect.
But of course, if
Yeah.
the name is rejected by legal, I would guess that the way we would proceed is the second best name would then win.
Are there any lawyers in the house?
That's what I was.
Okay.
Yeah. Do we want me to talk to Richard?
Kelly, you have some legal
I'm not a lawyer,
training, right?
but this has come up before, like when this conversation first came up.
Yeah.
And I think there was someone, I forget who, where if we like market it in any way, then there has to be some kind of legal stuff involved. I think it has to do with like those trademarks there and any kind of marketing with it, and that's the legal part. But Julia, I think if you talk to that point of contact, that would be good.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean,
Don't
we
worry,
don't know
guys.
the rules for this, and he does, so I will absolutely ask him.
This is also like a very informal thing. to an extent. We'll figure it out. I'm not too worried about it. I'm not going to lose any sleep at night over the legality of Ladu.
Let's say this, and I'm going to say this with authority. In the event that the number one voted on candidate is legally unable to fulfill their duties as the name, we shall keep going down the list in order of the votes such that the highest ranking legally cleared name shall be the name.
That was
Sounds
quite the
good.
proclamation. Thank you, Nathan, for that proclamation.
Yes.
Lawyer
I'll
Nathan.
challenge anyone. Oh, Lisa's already. Go ahead, Lisa.
No, that was an oops. I was trying to clap.
Oh, okay.
Press the
Oh, well,
wrong
thank
button.
you, Lisa. I appreciate it. All right. It is so declared.
All right.
Charlie, you want to close us out?
Yeah. Well,
Or
everyone,
should we
go
open it
vote.
up?
I kind of
Should
want
we
to
open up the
reload to
floor?
see if anyone has voted since I started sharing this. It looks like Lemmy is kind of this Lemmy is kind of catching up to Ladu. Quite honestly, I think Ladu should be kind of scared here. Yeah. Anyway, that's pretty much it. Open discussions. Does anyone want to talk about anything in InstructLab? I know we haven't had a lot of trains recently, but with these upcoming releases, we're definitely going to have some code changes. We're going to be doing, of course, subsequent 22 and 23 releases in the next couple of months. So, questions, comments, concerns about anything? Feel free to take the floor now. Yes,
Yeah,
JD.
thought of something that another discussion was started in the community or users channel, but the concern around Llama CPP as an upstream project. Someone raised the concern that they don't think it's being maintained to the degree that you would hope for from like a big dependency of the project. The lots of open issues and PRs are ongoing addressed, so that caused them to believe that maybe it's not being maintained as much, and that's a concern for them as well. I think they're maintaining different project than InstructLab, but they came to our Slack to ask us what we think about this. It should be said that like it's specifically not Llama CPP, but Llama CPP Python, which is what we use, the Python bindings for Llama CPP. And I mean, I can kind of see their concern. We haven't updated our version of Llama CPP Python because of the unanswered questions, PRs around it. Yeah, 1 second. I mean, I can.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be right now. You can do it later.
Okay.
I've
I just wanna
noticed
make
this
sure
as
that-
well. I've noticed that it's one dude, I think, who maintains Llama CPP Python, and I think he's very focused on maintaining parity with what they release rather than doing bug fixes for existing things. At least that's what I've seen in issues. Like there's been a whole issue about like supporting batch requests, which is a very rudimentary thing for the last like year and a half. So I've raised concern about this as well, and I've actually investigated alternatives. The only thing that I could think of is TGIS, but they don't really build that so you can install it with pip. It has to be you have to use Conda or you have to like manually clone the entire TGIS repo to just get the serving techniques, and we have to put that inside of InstructLab. So it's a huge mess. Another avenue is that VLLM technically works on CPU. I've gotten it to work, the upstream VLLM. It runs. You can do inferencing pretty easily, which means we could also support state tensors on community hardware, but it doesn't work on Mac. They haven't supported that yet. So I know there's a PR for that actually. There's specifically a PR in VLLM to support Mac CPUs, not MPS acceleration. So a lot of roadblocks, but it's kind of an unsolvable problem unless you want to dedicate like massive engineering resources to like go to an upstream basically and make it work for what we need it to work for. That would probably take multiple releases for us to be able to pivot like that. I don't know. Just my thoughts.
Yeah, I think I kind of generally agree that this is going to be something we have to confront eventually. Like, it's not that Llama CPP Python has been abandoned, I think, because they did put out a release like 3 weeks ago. So like they are releasing stuff. It's just that I think they're not incorporating like the things that people want necessarily. So it's yeah, like I don't know. At some point, if you decide if you want to stick with it or not. But in the short term, I think we should still at least try to upgrade our version. I know that there's an open issue and an open PR that hasn't been merged because there's like a bug fix that didn't get merged. But I don't know if we should probably revisit and see how consequential that open bug fix is and how likely it is to actually affect us, and is that like a regression or just like an enhancement? Because we should at some point, if we do like a analysis and weigh them all out and see that it may not be the worst idea to upgrade, we should probably do that because we're missing a lot of functionality by not being on 0 or 3, I think. Yeah,
The other solution I forgot to mention here that is honestly probably the easiest, but the most intensive, is to maintain an instruct-lab fork of Llama CPP Python. If we think that, because I've commented on issues and I've added the main developer and he has never responded. If we think that it's a thing that we're gonna hit on the line, which I kind of think it is, I think we're gonna get to a point where we're gonna be forced to do something about it. I think being proactive is important. And the easiest solution, aside from VLLM, which I don't think anything with VLLM is ever easy. So there's that. I think forking Llama CPP Python into the instruct-lab org and maintaining our own serving backend for community hardware is a solution. Again, that would be a lot of work for everyone on this team. But the alternative is we eventually get to a point where we are stuck with a package that's not maintained, which is kind of a dangerous waters to get into. I don't know.
Yeah, it's the thing is, it would be easier if it was just completely not maintained, but because it's in this weird middle space, we'd have to see whether it's actually worth taking on the overhead. Like, I think it would make more sense if we have like a general direction that we actually want Llama CPP to go in, and that it's like a big enough lift that it makes sense to invest the time to maintain our fork and like take it in a different direction. But if it's just about that we want to merge some bug fixes which are not getting merged upstream, I don't know if it makes sense to to have a fork. But like again, that's something we may at some point want to investigate as a team. So
Yeah.
I think something like that.
I think VLM is probably the long-term solution because that's where everyone seems to be going anyway in terms of serving.
But they don't. Does VLM support GGFs? I haven't tried.
I don't know. Actually, I think they do. They definitely support .bin. They of course support safe tensors. We'll have to figure this all out. All I know is that it does work on a Linux CPU laptop, and there's a PR to add ARM CPU specifically for Mac. So we'll have to do some investigation here because long term maintaining 2 serving backends, one of which is bad, I don't think is probably the solution. I think going to one that can be like multimodal is probably the right move. But we'll figure it out. I think this should honestly probably be a dev doc. I don't know what the solution of the dev doc would be, but our state of instruct-lab serving is kind of tenuous at best because we bring in a custom VLM fork most of the time, and we use Llama CPP Python, which isn't getting updates. So a long-term serving plan might be warranted, just because otherwise we're never going to do anything about this, honestly.
Yeah, you can almost say that if you already have a fork of VLLM, then maybe a fork of Llama CPP. So so much of a stretch. But again, there is a different team that manages that fork. So until we have the people to manage this fork, it would still be a big investment. But yeah, we definitely need some movement on this front.
Yep, I agree. We'll figure it out. Any other topics from anyone? Open discussion? Anything?
Oleg, did you want to plug the Discord? Oleg? Huh? Then we'll just wait for that.
I don't think he's. Oh yeah, he is on the call.
Yeah.
Well, I guess that's it then.
Crickets.
Charlie, closing remarks.
Thank you all for joining the InstructLab soon to be renamed CLI meeting to one of those 3 words on that dev doc. Appreciate everyone. Thank you very much for coming. Have a great weekend.
Ta-ta.
Thanks so much, Charlie.
Thank
you.
you.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.